Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce a distinguished leader and educator from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Dr. Bruce Behn. Dr. Behn currently serves as the Dean and CEO of Digital Learning at UTK Knoxville. Since joining the university in 1994, he has held several key leadership roles within the Department of Accounting and Information Management, including serving as department head, and has made significant contributions to the Haslam College of Business. In his current role, Dr. Behn leads Digital Learning, a transformative unit that is helping to shape the future of education at UT. This initiative is focused on expanding access to high quality, fully online learning experiences, ensuring that students, no matter where they are, can benefit from the university's commitment to discovery, learning, and engagement. As higher education continues to evolve, with more students seeking flexible and hybrid learning options, Dr. Behn's leadership is helping UT Knoxville stay ahead of the curve. His vision and dedication are driving innovative strategies and partnerships that are positioning the university as a national leader in digital education. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Bruce Behn.
Joe, how many UT grads do we have in a room? You ready? Go Vols, huh? How many UT employees do we have in the room? Wow, love it. And how many digital learning folks do we have in the room? Very nice. I love it. I really appreciate the invite. And get to talk about something I'm very passionate about. And by the way, anytime along the way you have questions, please stop and ask, right? So if you bear with me a little bit before I get into this, I want to give you a little background. So it was October 2022, and our chancellor came to me kind of out of the blue, twisted my arm and said, Bruce, I want you to lead this new division of digital learning. It's like, well, this is kind of cool. So I can, it's a startup, going to be a startup inside the university. Now there's no problems with that, right? Yeah. And yeah, so it was a great opportunity for me at the end of the year to go out in a ball of flames or actually make a great contribution to UT. So we'll see how that works out. So if you think about this, what caused all this to start? Our president, Randy Boyd, our chancellor, Donnie Plowman, and John Zobjak, our provost, they all knew that we were behind in the online learning space. Matter of fact, when I started on October 1st, 2022, we had 211 undergraduate students online in fully online programs. And you look at Arizona State, they have 90,000, to give you an example, right? So if you're in leadership, what can you do? We started off kind of trying to do this by ourselves. And we had a little contingent of people working with online programs at UT, but we just weren't growing fast enough. It wasn't scalable, right? So then what do you do, right? One of the ways to do this is team up with an online program management firm, right? OPMs. But all you business people out there know they take 60 to 70% of your revenues as their fees for doing all this work for online students. If we did that initially, we teamed up with Noodle Partners. And that was a good start for us in the business school. Shay Scott and I started a number of online programs in the business school, like the online MBA and supply chain management. And those are going gangbusters. But again, it was tough across campus when they take that percentage of revenue to start up programs in all these other colleges. So then, this actually was the case. Our leadership, I understand why they would think about this, but they were thinking about buying the University of Phoenix for $625 million. Now that's a hefty investment, but that would get you rolling pretty quickly. But for those, I'm just going to be, by the way, I'm the good, bad, and ugly. I'm open. That would have been a disaster for us, honestly, because they have separate faculty that don't even relate to the online campus in whether it's Arizona State or us. So what happened by kind of happenstance is our chancellor had a meeting where the president of Arizona State was, and they talked, and after a while, Michael Crow, who's the president of Arizona State, said, "Why don't we team up to get you going?" Right? And they talked for a while, and then they had to figure out who was going to lead this from our side to team up with Arizona State. And I have 2 degrees from Arizona State, and that was helpful. But the other thing was, in my PhD program at Arizona State, I worked as a research assistant for the now CEO and Dean of Ed Plus, which is Arizona State's arm of the online. So that's how we got started. And the big thing, and I don't want to lose sight of this, right on the front, again, one of our strategic objectives at UT, being the land grant institution, is to enhance access, right? And that is the key to what we're doing, because there's a whole group of students out there, and most of them are what I would call us, right? So they're adult learners, and we have about 1 million adult learners out there that have some credit but no degree. You know, and you think about, you guys all know in this room, right? I grew up on a farm in northern Wisconsin, and I was a first generation student. I know what an education means for family, your family, your brothers and sisters. It means a lot. So not to let these folks actually have an opportunity to get a degree is really bad news. So the other thing that gets me a little bit, and I don't know if you can in the back read, I'm not going to go through all of this, but there are almost 41,000 students in the state of Tennessee that are enrolled in an online program outside the state of Tennessee. To me, that is just crazy, right? Now, obviously, within our system and our schools here, there's a number of great programs, but when you have that many students taking online, that could be that could be, you know, Maine, that could be Maryland, anything. So there's a lot of opportunity here. And by the way, this is some of the things I've learned in my 2.5 years here, right? Is adult learners choose modality first. And that, I mean, think about that a bit, right? So these students are not residential on-campus students, right? So they choose if they want to go to campus or they choose to go online. And that's an important way we have to market to these students too, right? Think about it. And a lot of students choose things for the brand. And by the way, we have a pretty good brand. But still the students around, most of your students will still come from like 100 miles around Knoxville, which is kind of strange in a way. But it is true. If you have a presence and you have a good brand, you're going to get students from the state. So again, can you guys actually read that back there, or no? Okay. Okay, so this is kind of the important thing. 79% of the respondents, they work full time, right? They're receiving some kind of tuition reimbursement. 46% care for a dependent in their household. 52% are first generation students. 9% have been a member of the armed forces. So you have people that are out there that basically are working full time or are caring for somebody else in their family, and they can't go to campus. So who's kind of our competition here? These numbers were from the fall of 2023, And these are very different kind of universities, but you can see what's happening across the spectrum of universities. The residential student population, and by the way, again, these are fully online students. There are online classes for the residential students too. That's a different animal for us, right? But ASU, I mean, right now they have over 90,000 online students. And they have also teamed up with Uber and Starbucks to offer corporate partnerships. So their employees at Uber and Starbucks get a discounted fee to take these online classes at ASU. So, and by the way, one thing about this too is interesting to me is I found out last week that the University of Oklahoma is actually copying kind of our strategic plan and is following right in our footsteps, which is interesting. So now I'm going to give you a little bit more insights. And again, we presented this to the board about 2 months ago, the UT board. So this is our strategic enrollment plan for up to the years 2030, all right? And I know you can't read all this, but basically, the undergraduate campus space is gonna go from 30,000 to about 34,000. Graduates are gonna go from 5,000 to 6,500 residential. And then you get to online, and there's no pressure here for Bruce whatsoever. We're gonna go from 373 online undergraduate students to 8,000 by the year 2030. And graduates from 3,000 to 6,000. So this is the plan that was approved by the board. And we're gonna do everything in our power to make this happen. But you can see, this means making sure we get all our colleges and departments to participate by putting more online programs as part of what they teach. And that process is going on now. And so we can scale as fast as we can to meet that demand. And this is what we're currently doing. So when I started, you know, we had 2,500 students, and now we're up to almost 3,900 students. But if you notice with that SEP plan, this increase isn't enough to meet that. So we have been really working hard with the colleges to enhance the number of programs, certificate programs, graduate programs. And we were gonna have, our goal for the fiscal 26 up there was 25 programs, and we're actually gonna meet that. So we're now marketing, they're going through some processes still, but we will have that many programs by the fall of 26. And these are just some of the programs. They're all over the board in different colleges. You know, even in Haslam, we're going to do an undergraduate kind of management program online, which will be, I think, very successful down the road. Nursing, we just kind of signed the contract with nursing and service level agreement to either RN to BSN online. So everything's in gear, and we're building up the capacity. You're probably wondering, nobody, and that includes me, knew what exactly this entails. I mean, so all the course production is done by our group with the guidance of faculty, etc. So we have a production studio that's on campus that we use to do this. Marketing, I know there's some marketing enthusiasts. I'm an accountant, right? I've learned more about marketing than I care to. We spend a lot. I'm always interested in the return, but anyway, it's marketing in this area, and I'll show you in a little bit too. It's tough, right? Especially paid marketing and getting the returns that you want. We have enrollment coaches, so like one of the things when you fill out a request for information online, we have somebody, no matter what it is, call you within 15 minutes. Because if you don't, you lose that person, right? And there's all kinds of, so the enrollment coaches get you to get enrolled in the classes. Once you get enrolled, then we have a group of success coaches that are following you, every day, touch base with you, how's things going, what's going on. And they do a good job. And then the technology behind this, we use Salesforce, Slate. We have a bunch of AI that's on the marketing side of this. But the technology behind this is pretty amazing. If you think about where this is going down the road, we just hired a bunch of PhDs in data science, and where this is headed, from my perspective, I won't be around. But what we'd like to do is eventually have every student have the capability to take the same class, but learn differently. So have the AI figure out how you learn, and then have the capabilities that everybody could have a different dynamic learning in this class to take the same test kind of thing, right? I mean, that's coming, we're not there yet. And then we got a big department that looks at data insights about, what's the market for your program? What's the best things we can market to in the customer segmentation point of view? And if you ever get to see this is our new website, Bowels Online. And it's been really helpful. We've had, 40 million visits over the last couple of years to Bowels Online. But the big thing is, how many of you know about, you have a funnel, I assume, when you're looking at customers, right? This funnel is critical for us. So from a request for information, how many actually enroll and then graduate, successfully, get through the class? And so we are doing everything we can at every slice of this funnel to make that better. And I just got out of a meeting before I came here. Our funnels are not looking as good as they were last year. And the reason why is this technology that cracks me up, but two things. Bots are out there filling out these forms, right? And so they're just opening that top part of the funnel, but they're not real students. And the other thing that happens, I don't know if you've ever done this, I've actually done this too, is when you need something to look at, you put in fake names, fake birth dates. Well, that's happening to us too. So the question is how you use AI then to figure out the real candidates from the fluff stuff that's out there, right? So we're working on that. This is just, if you get online on your phone, you'll get to see these social media, and we can actually follow. Yeah, I know a lot of you get online and then you get followed for the next 6 months about, you want this particular shoe or this jacket. Well, we're one of those now. So if you get online, and put in online education, we'll be following you. All right. This is just something, we deal a lot with faculty, we build courses. We are really, a lot of faculty are thinking about doing this, so we help them. It's a big part of what we do across campus. And by the way, you guys, we're in a friendly crowd here. It was originally tough. I've taught online in my executive programs for a lot of years. And when we first started this, we were not welcome kind of across campus, right? Because you get the thing, online isn't as quality as a face-to-face class. People just didn't want to check it out. COVID helped that, but you still had some folks that said, online isn't going to work. That's now almost a thing of the past. Because what we've done is sent like a bunch of faculty out to ASU to see how they do their labs in biology, for example. And the thing is, I was talking to Joe earlier, for example, my physician executive MBA program, I was convinced I could not teach some of my stuff cases online. Right, we had this thing called the marketplace, and I did a venture capital fair for the doctors. And I said, there's no way I can do this online. And you know what? It was better online. And the other thing during COVID, I always love to get close to my students, right? Get to know them, right? And that's also part of the executive experience. I got 10 times more closer to the students when we had COVID than I ever did face to face. I thought that would never happen because you make like office hours anytime they want. You know, you actually get to see people more online a lot of times than you do in a face-to-face setting. So why ASU? Again, our chancellor and President Crow came together with this. I can tell you the consulting part of this was invaluable because they've been doing this for 15, 20 years already. We learned a heck of a lot in a very compressed time, which was what we needed. The next thing, the course exchange, and so this is when a UT student can take an online ASU class and have that credit pass its native credit right back into UT. The idea of that is great, right? I mean, if you want to graduate, if you're behind on something, they got the classes we could take, and vice versa. But what was interesting about this was when we put the course exchange online, what do you think happened? Well, our fellow colleagues around the University of Tennessee decided that they could now teach that class online. Why pay our students pay ASU to take that class from now? And you should see the number of courses that have come up around campus, that was a surprise to me, but that's what happened. And lastly, I can just tell you, yeah, in basically 1 year, we moved up 32 spots in the online undergraduate rankings, which is, again, you guys, there's always nuances with rankings, right? But the thing is, we're doing the right things, and our success factors are some of the highest in all those competitive environments we have. So how much more time?
Yeah, about 1 minute.
All right, I just want to give you one story. I had all these, we have a bunch of stories, but Jade's father was a huge UT fan, right? But he was in the armed forces, moved around a lot. And he was always promoting his kids to go to UT, and they couldn't because they're always on their own. So Jade ultimately enrolled in an online program at UT, and unbeknownst to her father and her family, she didn't tell them she was doing this. And then at graduation time, she had a 5-year-old kid, and she said he wanted to go to the Smoky Mountains to celebrate the son's birthday. And of course, it was right around graduation. And she walked out in the morning and she had her hood on. So.
Well, that is very cool. Does anyone have a question for Bruce?
You mentioned the production studio, and what I didn't catch on, is that a live taping where people are online, or are they taped and students can watch those at whatever?
It's a live production studio.
Okay, and my other question is cost. Are different classes different cost, or are they all kind of the same, or does it have to do with credit?
Yeah, the big difference between a residential student at UT and an online student, undergrad is about the same tuition, but if you're, so is grad, but if you're out of state and you're taking an online class, It's just the in-state tuition plus $75. So that's the big difference in kind of the tuition model for students. Good question. Yeah.
All your interactions with students are online, but what about with faculty? Is it person to person on the UT campus, or?
So there's a variety, right? You can have asynchronous online courses where even though everything's asynchronous, you still have to meet with the faculty online through Zoom or something. And like with the physician executive MBA, every morning from 9 till noon, we had like a Zoom session. So if they're on call or something, they could move in and out. So you always have faculty interaction with all these classes.
Time for one more question. Alan?
Would an employer look differently in an online student as opposed to a residential student?
Yeah, the question's a good one. But if I could convince the CEO of a firm, just like ASU did with Starbucks and Uber, they know that the quality that they're getting for their people is same or even sometimes better. And just an anecdote to that, some of the faculty that are now teaching in online programs, everybody, and they teach residential students too, so they teach both. They are bringing what they learned from a quality aspect from an online program they're teaching in, and they bring it into their residential program. I mean, that's to me is the best signal you could get, right? Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much. Very much, Dr. Behn. 14,000 students by 2030.
Don't keep bringing that
I
up.
think you're going to reach that goal. And there were a few questions. I know Susan had one. Would you mind staying for 5 minutes afterwards to answer?
Oh, love to.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. It's our tradition to donate. Looking for my book. To donate